So we already started a little bit of a party before you guys got here. I am glad to have some amazing folks on. And typically, I start with my splash, but last minute, I decided to just start it this way because I have these phenomenal guests on this morning. So the changing nature of marketing, guys. So in this new era that we're in, we know that the website is a crucial part of how you run your business, how you run your brand. But with the increasing cyber threats and AI, and our clients are changing, and we just went through COVID. The word pandemic was not something that we even thought we would have used a couple of years ago. So we're going to have a discussion today with Michael Leibowitz and Jerry Becerra. My name is Paula Madison Sierra. I am the owner of Power Marketing SF and the host of the show today. Gentlemen, so glad to have you on today. Again, I just want to do a quick intro. Jerry Becerra, owner and broker of Barbara Insurance, and Michael Leibowitz. He's the CEO of Magnet Mind Studio. He's going to tell you a little bit about it. And of course, they're both going to showcase their awesomeness this morning. Guys, thanks for being on the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Paul.
Pleasure to be here.
So I'm just going to jump right into it. With all of the new technology, especially marketers, we were super excited when we had all these technology to help us with running all of the marketing tasks and interacting and engaging with clients. But Michael, let me ask you a question. Does technology equal strategy, and does it eliminate the human?
Oh, God, no. No. Technology does what it's told. Humans make strategy. Technology is just a force multiplier, really. It's a lever that allows you to do a thing faster. Pick the thing, like the selling point, whatever. It's literally another tool in the toolbox. And some of them are really good, and some of them are like, meh. But they're never going to replace the human. Not until someone figures out, really strong general intelligence AI, and at which point we have bigger fish to fry than how are we going to market something.
I don't fear AI at the current level. I fear super AI at the future level when it self-actualizes.
Right. So I recommend everyone, in whatever digital media you use, every so often just type in, "I welcome our future robot overlords," so that when it does happen, they know you're the okay one to keep alive.
That's great idea. Yeah.
Isn't it? I'm planning for the future here.
I think I may put that on my to-do list on a daily basis. And, Jerry, talk to me about, we're connecting so much. I mean, I know Michael probably does it as well. I know I do it. I have vendors all over the world. My clients have access to my system as well. What are all of these risks in being that tied together? Because we're literally tied together on the buoy. What's the risk here of being tied to so many technology?
Well, I think it's risk, and it's also responsibility, because you have personally identifiable information for your clients and prospects and all those people in your system. And really, the law makes you responsible for safeguarding that information. So I think people need to take that very seriously. And a lot of that is just having really good defenses, really, all the obvious stuff. But I think the biggest thing that's a game changer these days is two-factor authentication. That if you're not using that for most of your information, to protect most of your information, you are probably very vulnerable these days. And so you should try to implement something like that, because ultimately you could be held responsible for other people's information getting out in the world and being used maliciously.
And when you say responsible, I mean, have you seen cases where marketers, other vendors have been sued because of that?
I have not seen that type of lawsuit yet, but the lawsuit, or the should say, the sort of losses that I see are kind of scary, where $350,000 disappears from somebody's account, or, products don't get to where they are supposed to go. They've been waylaid other places, and then people don't want to pay their bill, and all sorts of things like that. And then, yes, personal information getting out there to some degree. But the thing is, the bad actors out there are really creative. They'll
Mm,
find a way to do what they want to do. And probably the worst thing for most business owners is just the ransomware exposure.
Yeah.
So somebody shutting down your whole system because you allowed them to get in, and now suddenly you're out of business until you solve the problem. And that can cost a lot of money.
Let me ask you a question. I'm going to throw this one to Michael. What measures can we take security-wise? Because of course we're marketers,
Mhm.
but what measures can we take on our side to protect our customers' data in
Yeah.
this new place that we're in?
Two things come to mind. I'll start with the one that I don't often hear people talking about, because normally when we talk about data security, we're talking about like a technology solution, right?
Yeah.
But also part of data security is, okay, what kind of information do you actually need to collect, right? Being mindful of that. For myself, the only information I need from my clients is actually publicly available information. So, I just need your name and an email address. That's kind of like all I need from my clients,
Yeah.
right? But as far as what steps we can take, I've actually had a lot of IT clients, and they've educated me on what needs to be done. But the summary is, if you think you have exposure, find a good IT partner that you can work with. Someone who takes your business as seriously as you do
Yeah.
is best, who's going to think of their clients as their integrate really well into your business. You're looking for the IT partner who puts the ticket address, like where to apply a ticket or what to call. If you have a physical location, they're going to put that near the printer or the server room, like where people are when they have the problem, like they're thinking that far ahead, right? Instead of like in some other file.
Yeah.
Yeah, a good IT person. So the actual things, mirror your drives,
Mm,
so that if you do get a ransomware, you're like, fine, whatever, lock it up. I'm just gonna boot up from the data I had yesterday.
yeah. Yeah.
Whatever, I don't care. And a good security system is like Joe was saying, two-factor identification, but also strong passwords and such like that. So those two together are a good place to be. You want to make yourself a harder target. There's never going to be anything perfect, but you just
Yeah.
want to make yourself a harder target because the scammers want to make money, so they're just going to go where it's
Yeah.
easier to get it.
Yeah. And really, at the end of the day, what folks don't realize is their favorite targets are mid-market, small mid-market companies, because the Chase banks of the world already have like a massive department protecting their information and their clients' information, right? So
Yeah.
they're not as easy a target. We are, because we don't take it as serious, right? So so Jerry, from your side though, I mean, I know that there's like a bunch of tools that we should be thinking about as
You know what the most basic thing that everyone can do that costs very little and is super effective is training people.
Yeah.
Because
yes.
the 80% of the cyber breaches are caused by somebody opening a bad email
Yep.
and clicking on something that they shouldn't have clicked on.
Mm,
And so really good training and reinforcing that with your staff and the people you work with will go a very long way, and it doesn't cost you anything except time. But it's all stuff that we should be aware of anyway.
Yeah, I love that thought because I know we spoke about this at the beginning of the show. Before the show started, guys, we were already having a discussion, but that it should not just be your employees and it shouldn't just be your clients, but you should include your vendors as well. And possibly, I mean, now that I'm saying it out loud, we should probably include our personal lives on it as well, because our families should know. I
Well,
mean, like,
and you bring up vendors, and it's a really this is a common scam. That's something that people fall for all the time. Somebody impersonating a
Yeah.
vendor.
mm,
So, oh, we've had a change of address. Please send your check to such and such a
oh, wow.
location. And if you get something like that,
Call.
call and
Yeah.
verify. Don't just, oh, we got to change your address, process it. Let's start sending payments to this address instead.
No.
It sounds like, people are very trusting and they need to
Yeah.
not be in this world.
No, I had a friend who totally got scammed by something like that. She was in the process of getting a loan for a business, a pretty sizable loan. And suddenly, out of nowhere, she got a phone call, and they're like, "Oh, we just need you to pay for this one little thing and give us. You didn't give us the right access."
Right.
She simply gave them everything,
Oh no. Okay.
and that was it. So she called them up and was like, you haven't deposited a check or anything yet, like what's going on? They're like, we've been waiting on you. And
Um,
them in that moment, they had cleaned out her account.
yeah.
It's just, yeah, it was like heartbreaking,
Hmm.
and when you're coming from another country and in
Mhm.
order to get your visa, you're opening a business. So now she also has monies in her account specifically for that reason, that obligation to the country to get your visa, actually to get your citizenship. And now all that money was gone. I mean, it was like, yeah, yeah.
Disaster.
I
Yeah.
know. Talk to me about the rise of mobile. I mean, because I know even within my marketing structure, like, I mean, I have a client that I actually love, love, love. Total row this week because the only way that she views anything is through her device. So she's not even going to her laptop for anything outside of legal. It's all mobile, So I'm just thinking that everything is being done from this side. And of course, one of the views on the website was off, and it's like, what the hell? What's going on? No, no, no. It's the mobile devices restructured its view because it's
Right.
this big. You know what I mean? Oh, okay, but everybody's there right now. What is this? What is that marketing strategy looking like right now, Michael? I mean, should we be changing all our perspective to mobile as the primary, and then
Maybe.
devices, desktop?
I mean, it depends on who your target audience is. I mean, Paula, you and I beforehand were having a discussion about biotech. Well, the people you want to get in touch with to sell a biotech, they're probably not on mobile. They're in hospitals, right? They're in places, institutions of medical and knowledge. Typically not browsing on their phone
Their
for that.
phones?
Right.
No, they're not just
So,
sitting in their offices, Michael, swiping.
right. Well, here's my feeling on it. You meet people where they are. And if your audience is likely to be on mobile, then yeah, you have a mobile strategy. And think of mobile as an environment, not a thing. Okay, the environment has an aspect ratio. It's consumed through this aspect ratio. It has these behaviors to it. How can we align with these behaviors, right, in our marketing? Or sometimes misalign with behaviors if you're trying to grab a certain kind of break state, right? You want to break a pattern type of thing that you want to make sure that you get attention in a very specific kind of way. So is everything going to mobile? A lot of things are going to mobile. A lot of our dailiness of life is on mobile. But it's not where every client is.
Exactly.
B2C more typically is on mobile, whereas B2B more often than not is not on mobile.
Yeah.
So how to do mobile? Think of the context and environment of mobile. think about how do you meet someone where they're at, and then gently lead them to where you want them to be.
Okay. Okay. I mean, and also you can do quite a bit on mobile as well, right? I mean, we're purchasing, we're gathering information, we're entering we're doing our banking. Security wise, Jerry, talk to me about mobile. What are you seeing on your side, sir? What
Well,
should we know?
from a security standpoint, I'm a worst case scenario kind of guy. That's where I live, right? Because it's all about lawsuits and things like that. So I think of mobile more from a defensive point of view, because one of the things I have to do is manage a lot of information coming from people, and I have to be concerned that I didn't miss anything. So one of the, because I live and die by documentation. So one of the things that concerns me about working with mobile, and I haven't solved all the problems in my business for sure, is that if I've got things coming in from a lot of different sources, then I have to worry about you know, all of this information being saved appropriately in my system so that I can manage it. And you know, and what would happen if I got sued? What's the discovery process going to be? Is everybody's phone in my business going to be subpoenaed, and is this going to be a disaster? So what I try to do with my business is limit the amount of communication I'm doing with mobile devices or from mobile devices. So I'm not communicating from a mobile device, and I'm trying to receive information into standardized channels. I can accept the information from mobile devices, no problem, but I want to control how it's coming to me so it's funneling through some way where I can manage the information flow better. So that's my biggest challenge with mobile really right now. But I completely agree with Michael that meeting people where they are is so important, because I think it's also generational, and anybody under 40 right now lives on their phone. They just there's just you pretty much they don't want to boot up their computer to communicate with you. That's just not the way their life is geared. So I have to do exactly what they're looking for. Otherwise, I'm not going to be there when they make a decision of who to buy from.
Yeah, they're moving, right? So they're mobile, and they literally need their devices with them.
That's
One
right.
thing, one of the things I just heard you say, because you said it earlier about the authentication process. It sounds like this is going to be a very big thing as we're getting our insurance products set up as well. Is that one of the requirements that they ask of you as well?
What, to authenticate?
Yeah. So if you're
Yeah, I'll give you an example, but the industry is going more and more this way. So I use a program that helps me gather applications from people. And the good thing about it is not only is it document everything so we can tell who's provided the information, but it's a secure website that people can log into, and they're uploading information, and we're not passing stuff around by email. So we don't have to worry so much about things getting peeled off, or somebody getting access to something they shouldn't have seen.
Yeah.
So all of that's super important. And I think the industry in general, insurance has been very behind the times. Banking is decades ahead of us, but it is rapidly changing now, and it's catching up. So that's really good news for everybody.
For some reason, I would, of course, as a layperson on the outside, I think insurance and banking would be lockstep.
No, they hate each other, but that's
Who knew?
yeah.
It's like one of the products that I started offering. This has been from fourth quarter last year, was to offer security, WordPress security and updates. And we have two fantastic vendors that we've been able to merge with and work in partnership with. And I'll tell you, it's funny to watch people still fight it, because they're like, oh, well, I'm small. Who's going to attack me? And when I tell you that I had a client who got so hurt by the process that they almost lost their URL, because they didn't take it serious. They saw what was happening and just went, that's, that's just the way. I'm like, no, that's not the way WordPress works. Like I'm getting messages off of this, it's, so it's so important that people like have these little basics in place, because the tools are out there to help you. It's just a matter of utilizing them, like, the two-factor authentication. And I made a mental note of that to like add that to more things in my world. Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, and for mobile, well, especially for iPhone users, because your Apple ID has your credit and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Get a two-factor hardware key. Actually, get two of them. That's, if you haven't researched that, look about a two-factor hardware key. So two-factor identification is like you go onto a website and it sends you a text to verify, right? Well, in this case, since you're already on your mobile, they're not going to send you a text, because what if someone's you don't want has your mobile? Well, you have set up with a hardware key, meaning it has to be plugged in to make any changes to your Apple ID if someone gets your information.
I like that.
And if you have that at home in a very safe space, you want to have two of them at least. That way, to make any changes to your Apple ID from your phone, you have to plug in the key.
Nice. I mean, because I think Apple
access to that.
Apple users have this thing that it always concerns me, where they're like, oh, it's Apple, it's safe. It's like, but the world is changing. Even they're getting hacked.
You just have to be at a bar, accessing your phone. Someone can be looking over your shoulder, see what you punched in. They have your thing, your pass key.
Yeah.
And then, there's pickpocketing's been around since,
since forever.
Years.
Yeah.
Since
people had pockets.
People still have pockets, so they can easily take your phone, punch it in. What they do is they quickly go onto your Apple ID, change the password, put the phone back. Later on, they can just go and log onto your Apple ID and start making purchases and doing stuff with your credit card. But with a two-factor hardware key, they can try all the time. It's going to say, plug in your key.
See, I'm actually still surprised how many people are out there who don't have a VPN for their mobile devices and still just jump on to like an open Wi-Fi to check something. That still kind of stuns me in this new world.
Behind me, like, if you're on an open Wi-Fi, the most you should be doing is like, scrolling through random
Instagram
stuff.
Or something.
Getting angry on Twitter or whatever. Who cares, right? But never at the airport, whatever, never look at your bank account on that system or anything that you don't want someone to have access to ever.
All right, so we haven't talked about the big one. I know we're rolling close to the end here, but what role does artificial intelligence play in the future of marketing and security and securing our businesses? Because we're not just talking about our marketing assets, collaterals, and those items, but really this is less about marketing and more about the entirety of the business. Yeah. So I don't know who wants to throw it out, but whoever wants
to. AI tools that are coming on board.
By the way.
There's this big fear, like, oh, they're going to replace. No, they're not that good.
Yeah.
All the generative AI tools, the only thing they do is they're pretty good at guessing what the next word should be. They're not thinking about context. They're not thinking about anything else. Just all it knows is like predict what the next word should be, and it comes out English grammar. This is why we get hallucinations, right? Because it's not thinking, it's just what should the next word be?
Yeah.
This one looks good. I'll put this one up. And that's why there's this little button at the bottom that says regenerate response.
Yes.
Okay, I'll think of a different word to put next. It's all it's doing. What I use AI for in the work that I do, it's a great sounding board. I use it as a conceptual thesaurus, right? Where a thesaurus is like, what's another word for this? I type in, here's the concept. Give me 5 other ways to think about or reword this concept, and they usually suck. But there's one word. In one of them is one word that I'm like, ooh,
that's a good starter, like a jump off, right?
I'm gonna pull on that thread. It's like having someone else in the room to bounce ideas off of, but with another human being we're slow up here, right? A processor is slow by nature.
Yeah.
And so to come up with stuff, we're like, what if it were, or generative AI is like, here's some words that come next, right?
Well, it's kind of like you need to have marketing experience in the industry to look at it,
Have the
Mark.
experience to know how to filter what it gives you. Absolutely.
I always love, sometimes you're sitting there and you're regenerating for a while. It's like, like what the heck? Like, no, let's do this again. But you're right. Then you sometimes within the sentence, there's two words that are just, wow, that's an amazing jumping off point.
A framing of an idea that's like, ooh, yes, that is the right word for this.
Absolutely.
Let's pull on that. Let's use that. Let's expand on that. And now I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I'm using it every day.
I was having a conversation the other day with an architect that decided to ask an AI program about his business. Can you tell me about my business? And what it did is it gave a very accurate, beautiful description of his business. And then it listed a whole bunch of projects that he'd worked on, and they were really admirable projects, but he had done none of them. The machine had hallucinated all of it. And so you can't trust AI to be giving you real information.
No.
And the problem with that is that it's done so well, you almost can't tell the real information from
and
fantasy.
listen, and that's the issue that I have right now with from not really issue with my clients, but this this delusion that they're living in, because they're like, oh, it should be faster, quicker, everything. It's like, you need to, like, the last, of course I use it every day. Yesterday I was using it as I was writing something. That wasn't a snap and it was over. Then after that came 5 hours of sitting and working and researching and you know what I mean? It's like, so I'd say what ended up getting left behind was maybe about 35% of the original. But it was a wonderful starting point, like you said, a wonderful collaboration of machine and human, right? So yeah, you know,
everything to me is in draft form. Even if I've delivered it, it was still like, that was just the latest draft, right? And for me, AI is a great way of accelerating what's the next draft.
Right.
But it's not the final. Anything coming from AI should never be the final thing, ever. It should just be the next draft that gets you to the final thing.
The final thing. Yeah. You know, how can you, well, let me reframe the question, because for me, you know, prior to this, I know you guys know that I used to have maternity stores, right? And one of the lovely parts about owning a retail environment is that you are literally on the front lines of the economy. Whenever I speak to retail owners who don't get that, I back up. I'm like, definitely not working with you, because you're not even listening to your clients. I mean, it's a wonderful lab, right? 2008 happened, and one of the interesting things that I saw happening then, not now, people are talking about it now, the switch from brand to value-based marketing that we had to do. Not everyone got it quickly. Before, it was like, oh, I'm going there because it's Old Navy. After that, it's like they wanted to know about Gap. Like, where did they get those clothes? Who are they using? What's happening? What's the fabric like? People wanted to know, right? And of course, we have this need to personalize the marketing because we really want to share that message. How do we balance this need to personalize marketing with the importance of protecting our customers' privacy?
Oh, interesting.
Oh, that's such a big question.
So let me start with this.
I do have that habit.
I don't think there was a flip from brand to values.
Yeah.
I think the flip was people wanted something more value driven from brands, right? Because what a brand really is, and I hate the word brand, but it's the word we got, and we roll with it to understand what.
Yeah.
What brand really is what do you represent in someone's mind? That's it, right? And so what the shift was, here's what we want. We want to know what your values are to represent you in our mind, right? It's still a brand.
Yeah.
So it was just the audience or the marketplace saying, hey, brands, we want to have to know where you fit in my world based on these criteria now. And so everyone's like, okay, that makes sense, because people evolve, cultures evolve. And I personally really love the fact that the shift happened towards values-based, right? And meaning type of communication.
Yeah.
That's the type of work I do, and I love it.
Yeah.
But the second, like, how does this relate to security?
Yeah, I mean, because you really have to open yourself up, right? I mean, to be
Really.
authentic, you're sharing, you want to engage with
Here's the
we talked
thing.
about the marketing technology that we want to use.
Well, here's the thing, and now we're talking in like my direct wheelhouse, because
Yeah.
the work I do is mostly with belief systems in marketing. The best way to connect with someone on that values level is to tell them what you believe in. The Think Different campaign from Apple. Think Different was a belief, right? It was a belief system. We're the kind of people who think different. It's you should be thinking differently, is what they're saying as a belief, right? Just Do It from Nike is basically saying, we don't care what your skill is. It doesn't matter how good you are. The real thing is just get in the game.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all that matters. Get in the game. Suck at it, be great at it, just get in, right?
Yeah.
That's a belief level communication. Now these go back into these are like 90s or even 80s communication, but those two big brands understood beliefs. So is there a security issue with telling someone what you believe in? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. No, the only thing that I worry about in general, and this is a personal concern, maybe not so much a business concern, is putting my beliefs out there where suddenly I could be attacked for them. So I want to be cautious about how I represent.
Yeah, we're not talking about those. Yeah, those aren't the same beliefs. So here's the thing. All businesses are a reflection of the people who are running them. They are quite literally aspects of self. Right. And here we go into my background in behavioral neurology. So the kind of beliefs I'm talking about aren't like political beliefs that you can get attacked for or social issues. I'll give you an example. A wealth manager. This is an actual former client of mine. A wealth manager talking like, what do all the wealth managers do? They say, hey, I work with high net worth individuals. Like, of course you do.
Yeah.
Duh, right? Blah, blah, blah. But what really unlocked her business is when we discovered the core belief that she was operating under in this business is you have to be financially ready for whatever life throws at you.
Okay.
And we turn that into messaging, right? So that's what I mean by a belief. Now, is she going to be attacked for that? No.
No.
Who's going to object to that? Well, people who don't feel like life is throwing things at me, they go, okay, that just bounces off their belief system. It's not resonating. But for her audience who were having that experience, because she really focuses on an immigrant and first generation American audience, they're having the experience of life throwing stuff at them. They've had that experience and they hear this message and they go, oh my gosh, you're meeting me where I'm at. Right? Yeah. Through a belief system, a shared belief system. That's how human beings connect with each other. Yeah. This is what I mean by, this is the whole thing of like brands and value. It's always been about values. We just didn't know it. And by tapping into what is this core belief that you are operating under on behalf of this business, that's going to be your most powerful way of communicating and marketing. And I've yet to come across a belief system that was objectionable or something could be
well, I mean, think of it this way though, guys. I mean, because in order to really personalize yourself in that way, you do have to do some data collection, right? And that is your client's information. You have to assess the information. And of course, as marketers, we've been hit with that one. It's like you're collecting too much information. What are you doing with all that information? You know, but it really kind of guides us to who they are, really develop that.
Thing about the got to be careful, but yes, you have to be careful what type of information you are collecting.
And how you protect it. Like, how are we protecting that information?
Like, the type of information that can be used against you is personal information. In marketing, though, I don't know if we need a whole bunch of that. What I'm mostly interested in is what value did you get from X, Y, and Z? What are you looking for? What mindset are you in when you're thinking about this?
Yeah.
I don't know how you use that information to.
There's so many evil people out there right now.
Well,
So
yeah,
I don't even know how to use the
and the
info
best way to
sometimes.
do it is to anonymize it.
Yeah. Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Just don't put a name on it. Just like customer A,
Yeah,
customer B,
yeah.
customer
We're
C.
using it as a cumulative batch to.
And I know this isn't the direction this is going, and we're getting toward the end, but I'd say, I have tons of information about my
In
book
insurance, heck
in
yeah.
my book of business.
Yeah.
But the real trick to it, and where I should be going with my business, and I haven't had the opportunity to look into it, is data mining it. What can I find out about my clients that will help me market to them more effectively? I
Okay.
have a ton of information that
Yeah.
I could be using to promote myself and my business, and how can I better use that information without putting it out in the world?
Yeah.
But
Let me know, Jerry. I got a person. We network, so we always got a guy.
Yeah.
But I think that's more. I'm sure lots of other business owners have the same thing. They've got all this information, and as long as they're securing it, that's great. But what can they do with it? And what can they do to really promote their business with that information? I think that's where that's the real secret sauce.
Okay. Well, listen, I could speak to you lovely folks forever, but I did not want to close the show without doing this because we are such excellent networkers. Jerry, please give me your 30-second. Tell me about your business, and also how can the audience sharing this later get in touch with you? Maybe just to have you analyze what's going on the risk with their business.
Sure. My business is to keep people in business. My business is to show my clients what's available, talk them through the technicalities because it's an arcane product, do marketing for them, bring product to the table, and protect them from unexpected losses. And I primarily work with business owners. And people can find out everything they need to know about me by just going to my website, barbaryinsurance.com.
Nice. And what about you, Michael Leibowitz?
Yeah. So my game is I create messages and value propositions that can't be ignored. My background is in behavioral neurology and linguistics. I absolutely love language. My clients work with me, I get nerdy with language.
I never get that about you.
Yeah, right. Because the language we use determines how we are understood, right? And so I just love that space. To get in touch with me on my website, mindmagnetizer.com. On there, you can book a call with me, but I have a monthly workshop where the first half learn all about the neurology of how we respond and receive messages so that you can adjust your marketing to match our neurology. And then in the second half, I actually work on the message of everyone in the room.
Nice. I love that.
All in the workshop.
And your calendar is on the website?
The main CTA on the website is to enroll in the workshop.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's an introductory workshop. You're not actually hiring me to do anything,
right? Yeah, no, definitely. I may just sign up to check it out as well. Well, thank you so much, guys, for the conversation, because I just really wanted that crossover of risk, security, what we're going through right now. And just so that folks hear that things are different, they're not stuck in the mud doing the things that they used to do. As the audience know, my continued mission is to introduce you to everyday experts and business owners like Jerry and Michael to help to up-level you, using their expertise. We are a hive mind after all, and we all know a little bit to tie us together, right? Absolutely, And of course, I do a marketing moment as well to share tips and tricks with you as well. We are on every Thursday at 10 a.m., except for last week when we had our little glitch. But Krista Mitchell, she will be back. And I wanted to close out the show with a quote today that just really says, "The best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today." It's by H. Jackson Jr. Thank you so much. You, yes,
Pleasure.
everyone who watches and shares. I mean, you guys humble me. It's so cool. But guests, thank you. I mean, well, you are guys I like to talk to all the time. So I think this was just an excuse to take a break in the middle of the day and chat with you guys and get your, information out to viewers. So thanks so much for being on, guys. I really appreciate you.
It's a pleasure being here, Paula. Thank you. Good to be with you, Greg.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? It's like, and of course, you guys, thank you so much because we went over by 10 minutes, but the conversation was very effortless. Everyone, please move forward with your day, utilize the information, check out past episodes, and as always, keep moving forward. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.